Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode on Stockertim. Welcome to Stockertim, the investors channel. On this episode, I'll be talking about two iconic stocks, companies, and brands. I'm talking about Uber Technologies and Tesla. Uber is actually the global leader in ride hailing, robotaxi, autonomous driving, and also mobility, while Tesla is the world leading brand when it comes to electric vehicle, which is called EV. Also, AI, XAI, and Tesla has now, put the future of the business on autonomous and robotaxi. As a matter of fact, because CEO Elon Musk has seen, perhaps maybe he has predicted the future, that Tesla might not necessarily need to be churning out more cars, but Tesla can actually make money from artificial intelligence powering its robotaxi. However, Uber Technologies, one of the stocks that we have on our portfolio on Stockertim, just to put it out there, is actually the leader because of so many things. So on this episode, I'll actually be telling you my opinion, our opinion as Stockertim, why we think Uber Technologies as a head, has actually, a an edge ahead of Tesla. So you might not agree, you might agree with some or all of the reasons. Is left for you, and that's why we always say every information shared on this channel is for information and education purpose only. So do your due diligence and consult your financial advisor before making any decision. Please give this video a like, because it will reach more people and it will actually add more value to the portfolio and the investing mindset of a whole lot of investors across the world who watch this video. So I'm going to jump right in to tell you 10 reasons, very, very fast, 10 reasons why I think Uber Technologies has the hedge as against Tesla when it comes to the future of autonomous driving and robotaxi. And please join me and let's jump right in. So, Uber Technologies and Tesla Inc., they've been going head to head, neck and neck, in terms of the actual movement of these two iconic companies. But at Stockertim, we don't necessarily recommend, or we don't necessarily have Tesla on our watch list, or not even in our portfolio, for so many reasons that we've shared over the years, because we believe Uber Technologies has a superior execution and the superior ability to actually win in terms of mobility, end-to-end mobility solutions, not just in the US or North America, but across the world, especially in all the key cities, all the key countries that actually controls the global economy. And that's why I'm sharing 10 reasons why we think at Stockertim that Uber Technologies actually has the hedge over Tesla when it comes to the future of autonomous driving. And the number one reason I actually think is Uber has the ride hailing infrastructure in place. Uber doesn't necessarily have to actually start investing in a whole lot of customer service, infrastructure, the coding, the technology, a whole lot of ramp up in terms of resources that Tesla is now investing in. So, and that's why we actually believe Tesla might not necessarily be taking the right approach by trying to go it alone, but that's what we think. Also, Uber is asset light. Uber doesn't necessarily need to even invest directly or indirectly in any of the companies that are actually making the autonomous cars or the robo taxis. Uber just needs to do what it does well, which is providing the platform, the infrastructure, and everything you need to actually roll out autonomous driving and robo taxi across the world. And Uber has that network that anyone can plug in, just like a plug and play situation. Also, Uber has that strategic partnership with Aurora Innovation, Motional, Waymo. Waymo actually is the leader when it comes to autonomous driving. So in the US, in Atlanta, in Texas, Waymo already has millions of rides that is completed compared to Tesla that is still more or less pilot or experimental rides. So from the look of things, Uber has that hedge because Uber is already offering its platform to the network. Also, the network advantage, Uber just has the huge global access to passengers, to customers, everywhere in the world, especially all the countries that Uber is already operating. I also believe multimodal platform an approach that Uber has is giving it the hedge over Tesla. Tesla is just one company that wants to actually go head on with a network provider such as Uber, which is going to be very, very tough for Tesla to actually break into this market from a very in-depth approach or even out of North America, because if they go it alone, they will actually falter in trying to actually access each market. Also, Tesla is not even available for direct sales in major countries, especially in the southern hemisphere of the world, the developing countries, the Southeast Asia. Tesla is not necessarily even available directly for people to actually buy. So, how well will Tesla even roll out its Robotaxi in those countries? Also, Uber already has the understanding of the market when it comes to regulation, when it comes to how Uber actually is able to maneuver its ways in all of those markets. Also, they have that flexible strategy. Uber can actually allow anyone, Motional, Waymo, Cruise. Cruise is no longer in the market, but even Pony AI, which is actually making some of the most bullish move when it comes to robo taxis in Southeast Asia, is now in partnership with Uber, and that's what we actually think why Uber has that hedge. Also, Tesla is going to face serious competition, especially in its bread and butter business, and that's going to more or less distract Tesla from even being able to compete with Uber. So, for instance, Tesla sales has been crashing for more than a year now, quarter on quarter. The likes of BYD, Ford, Lucid are still there. And if Tesla now wants to, eat into the business of Uber and even Lyft, which is more or less a very smaller player, it's going to be very, very tough for Tesla. The last reason I actually think is if Tesla's vehicle sales continue to decline, it is going to actually affect the future of his robotaxi business. And that's because the core business of Tesla, for Tesla to remain solvent, for Tesla to remain a valid business that could actually run over the years, Tesla still has to sell more cars because that's the bread and butter. The AI, the XAI, the dojos, the autonomous robots, and all that. All of those are still more or less moonshot, and autonomous and robo taxis are now more or less fledging out. And if Tesla is not able to actually hold on to its core, which is selling Tesla cars, it is actually going to be very tough for Tesla to actually breaking into new markets. So I'll show you the chart, and we'll close on that note for you to actually see the thought pattern as to why perhaps Uber has actually performed better, at least in the last 6 months or even the last 1 year compared to Tesla. So let's look at the chart and we'll go under the hood. So as you can see, if you look at the chart on a year-to-date basis, you can actually see that Uber Technologies has returned about 53% capital gain or gain on the shares for the year between January and today. You can actually see that Tesla is still down by over 20%. If you go back in the last 1 year, you could actually see that despite the fact that Tesla seems to still have a little edge, which is about 52%, and Uber is just up by about 30%. You could actually see that Uber has taken up the pace to be a bit more stable and a bit more bullish to the upside, and Tesla has more or less still looking like it's still going to stagnate. If you look at it on a 5-year basis, you could actually see the full story. So uh despite the fact that Uber has rough several rough years behind it, the COVID pandemic, that Uber couldn't actually operate, and no one was going out. The Russian Ukraine war, after the reopening, that actually skyrocketed inflation, and cost of everything went up, including Uber rides. You could actually see that Uber has regained the strength towards the upside, and Uber is now up by about 202% in the last 5 years. Tesla has not necessarily shown that opportunity for growth, especially because if you look at what Tesla has been doing recently in terms of the sales of Tesla vehicles, those deliveries continue to crater, and Tesla's business in China, which is more or less the second biggest market for Tesla outside of the US, is now really, really under threat from the likes of BYD and a whole lot of local Chinese brands. So if Tesla wants to, put the future of the business on the Robotaxi, and they want to compete with a player like Uber that has not just not having the skin in the game, but Uber's cost of running the business, Uber's capital expenditure will continue to actually crater to the downside, and the opportunity for Uber to make more profit, increases profit margin, will actually increase, because Uber no longer even fund any research and development to develop actual hardware or vehicles for robotaxi or autonomous driving. Uber is more or less offering its platform for any brand, any robotaxi autonomous vehicle maker to actually join the network and provide the services for Uber customers. That's why we don't necessarily see Tesla proving to be difficult or having anything that is going to actually change or move the needle. So that's what we think, and that's why on Stockertim Premium community, we keep on sharing this kind of in-depth review, in-depth opinion of what we think. It is not financial advice. It is more of education, information that will actually increase your insight or expand the width of your insight into how to understand companies, why companies might actually underperform in the short, medium, or long term, or why some companies might underperform in the short term or medium term and they actually do better in the long term. And that's why we are actually inviting you to join our premium community. The link to the video to describe everything about the premium community is up, as you can see. So what we do there is to provide you all the daily briefing, analysis, in-depth stock picks that they are not necessarily financial advice. It is just a guide for you to actually do your own due diligence and make better decision and smarter decision. So on that note, that's what we think about Uber and Tesla. We think Uber has what it takes to win in the robotaxi and autonomous driving future, and Tesla might not necessarily perform as good as Uber, unless Tesla perhaps wants to come on the Uber network to actually focus on what it does better, which is making some of the best electric vehicles, and even providing artificial intelligence platform that the likes of Uber can still plug into the network. So on that note, that's what we have for you today, and that's what we think. So that's all we have for you on this episode. Till next time, keep investing, keep growing, take care, and bye-bye.